The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Thank you, Nighthawk. And we are back with Shiny Side Out. That's right, on Revolution Radio, on revolution.radio, for your listening pleasure. If you can donate, please do. This is not funded radio, don't forget. It means the purse strings are firmly in your hands. If you can't donate, that's okay. Just tell people about the station and our shows. There's a whole bunch of people here. We've got 4 hosts today, which is freaking awesome as far as I'm concerned. It's like a mini roundtable. But tell people about us, like our content. If you see it out there, share it, comment on it. It all helps with the algorithm. Dave and I would like to retire on this show if we can. That would be nice. Oh, so far away from that. But we've been discussing everything and anything and more and everything, and it is a lot, which is many things. And that was a deliberate Trumpism right there. It is bigly good. You're on mute, Dave, just to let you know. But look, let's get right back into it. We are not following the show arc this week. We come back to it soon enough. The hypothesis, this plays nicely into it. In the hypothesis show cycle, we have just hit the intransient, the metaphysical will, and I think our discussion here will lend a lot of content to that as well. But we have been discussing the world and all kinds of changes, issues, and challenges. And I think the Michael Senna observation that you all made, I think, is very valid. I think he is a contender, and we should definitely watch him for future reference, right? Because you can tell sometimes when people are inserted into the fabric of our culture for certain purposes. I remember Barack Obama when he was a senator. I thought, oh yeah, he's someone to watch. And then lo and behold, a few years later, became the first not quite African-American president. But look, you're both in the States. and I really love what you guys are doing. I really do. And you have good voices. And no, it's a fact, because a lot of people they might hear the calling, but they don't do it. Has it gotten harder? I'm really curious, because you're actually physically in the States, and Dave and I are not, obviously. Has it become harder to do what you do? Do you face more obstacles, or is it relatively unchanged?
We'll leave that to Solaris first if she wants.
I was gonna hand it to you. Honestly, I've been on the front lines for so long that nothing phases me. So I go full speed ahead, like I always do. And I'm used to aerial warfare. I'm used to, having problems with these people. Not that group specifically, but I have had issues with people in the past. So I just keep going. I just keep going full speed ahead. I think the biggest thing is I'm just getting older, like in the illusion of aging. And I think about retirement too, and how much longer I'm going to be on the radio. But for now, I'm here. And I want to thank you both for having us tonight. This is spectacular. And it's so good to see both of you. You look great. You're timeless. Both of you have not aged. And it's your show stellar. No, you guys look really good. And I just want to say thank you for letting us crash your show.
No. Thank you for coming. The honor is all ours, and I mean it. Mm-hmm. I know you both have been on before, and Solaris, in fact, was in our inaugural. Was it 100 or 200,
That's
Dave?
Right.
I think it was 100, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
That was, yeah, I know, right?
So,
who would have thought?
Given it's a show 713 of just the Shiny Side Out platform, crazy.
Fabulous. Congratulations. That's great.
So, I can't believe it's been almost, if not already, 1 year since you guys were on my show when I first started. Like, this is...
Yeah.
This is
I'm almost
through my second year on radio, and it doesn't feel like that at all. Like, It's crazy.
That was fast.
But it's been a year since I talked to you guys, and I've been telling people, like, I need to get David Mackey back on. And so when Solaris told me the other day that we'd been invited, I was like, yes! Like, I did. I jumped up and down, and I was like, yeah, I'm so excited to be back on David Mackey. Like, oh. Because Solaris and I are always on each other's shows, and it's like, but I really wanted to have you guys back on mine, and like, now that I have Saturday night shows, I was hoping maybe it was an easier time for you, so you're not waking up at like, what was it, like 3 o'clock in the morning? And
we'd be honored to come in any time. Look, I used to work for American companies.
Have to be on my show.
Anytime,
Absolutely.
anytime,
Very good.
anytime. Would love to. Look, and it is really this meeting of minds, and I have to thank Nighthawk, obviously, Mike Ringley, for creating this platform and allowing us to be on it and meeting people like yourselves, and having had the chance to meet some of my idols out in the research world as well, some of which have now passed on. But it is this meeting of minds, and I think for our listeners out there in the world, Revolution Radio is really a platform that is hard to define, because you will find so many divergent opinions. And the wonderful thing is they can all coexist peacefully. There's no flaming happening here or denigration. Everybody's supportive, no matter what your opinion is or whatever you have to say. And for me, I'll be honest with you personally, that's such a wonderful and refreshing thing. No one can claim, to hold the holy grail of the truth. We all try to figure out what is going on, and if we support each other, even if we disagree, I think we have a much better chance of getting somewhere in the end.
yeah, I agree.
So that brings me to a question that I wrote during the break, because that's the kind of prep that I do. When I remember going to extreme depths because a guest is coming on, watch all of their material, see what people have and haven't asked them, write down perfect answers with follow-ups, right? The whole business, yeah. And then you say hello, and they're such a pro, you've got to stop them at the top of the hour break, or their time has run out, right? Yeah. Stanton Friedman, I said, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what happened? How did your life suddenly take a tangent? And that was it. And we didn't say another word except for active listening. And then it's like, oh, that's the music. We have to go. Crazy. So when someone hears, this is my question here. So when someone hears that you have a show, because I know that I'll tell people that I have a radio show, if it gets to that. Even during my interview in my current role, they looked me up on LinkedIn and went, oh, you're a radio host. I said, yeah. Oh, tell us a little bit about that in the interview. Not related at all. Not even. And they say, well, what's it about? I go, you might not be our demographic, to be honest with you, but, sure. I'm open, I'm transparent. So, because, Becky can't believe it. Yeah, I actually said that. So, what is something that someone always asks you when you say that you're a radio host or you've announced it for the first time? You could be in a social setting or just, anything else. What do they ask you?
Oh, man. Mine's going to hurt everyone. It just gave me a tummy ache. But I get podcast? My friend has a YouTube show also. No, I'm on the radio. And
actually
they're like,
on the radio. That's right.
So like a podcast. And I'm like, no, like a radio show. like a radio. Like when you turn on your car and they're like, what? And it just, people are like, people still have radio shows? Like, that's cool, I guess. And then they'll ask me about it. And it's like, I feel like we should stop talking now. Like, I don't know. Like,
that's right. Because they go,
I don't know if I'm your demographic.
So you're on radio, but is there a podcast I can listen to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. And it's like, I guess technically once it's not live and it's archived, you could call it a podcast, but I don't feel like it. I feel like there's a set style of podcasting, and then there's radio, and talk radio could be, it's so vast. When I went to that convention in August, it was a morning show convention, so it was very different than what I thought I was walking into, but I was so happy that like everyone, the first thing out of their mouth at that particular convention was just like, oh, so what is your show about? Like, are you a morning show or like, you know, DJ? Like, what is your show? And I was like, oh, my people, not like, oh, it's a podcast. It was like, no, like, what is the content? And I was like, nothing you guys are doing.
America, the land of conventions.
Yeah.
We have
oh my God,
go,
so many conventions.
We've got to be 17 hours on a plane to get to a good one.
Oh my goodness.
To
oh my
you
God.
guys,
That's
like to America.
so much. Wow. I didn't realize it was that far of a distance to travel. It's crazy.
You can teleporter.
I used to fly from Sydney to Dallas Fort Worth on a regular basis because
oh God,
I used to go to Florida for conventions. So I went from Dallas Fort Worth. I went to Orlando after, but that was 18 hours. That was the longest flight you can get in the world at the time. And they used the latest. I can't remember what aircraft, but yeah, that's a long flight. And you go stir crazy at the back of the plane. They have this huge fridge full of snacks, like little mini chocolate bars and all kinds of things, right? So just so you survive the flight. But yeah, that's how far away we are. We are like a minimum of 8 hours away from anywhere in the world. Singapore is our probably closest civilized neighbor.
Wow.
It's
That's crazy. I've never thought about that before. I mean, I going to Australia stresses me out because it's just a big Hawaii. It's just a giant island, and there's it's just another country, but like it's in the middle of the ocean, and that scares me so much.
If you get a map of the globe,
Singapore.
Yeah,
gosh,
if you get a map
I
of
feel
the
like
globe,
Singapore is so different. Yeah.
So if you get a map of the globe and you turn it so the ocean is up, the Pacific Ocean, it's nearly half the entire Earth.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
I need to go buy a globe.
You can just Google Earth and do the same
I know,
thing,
but something
rotate
about like physically being able to like hold and see that. I feel like it.
Yeah. I don't
People,
like
that's
Google.
no. I don't. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but that was something I thought about. You guys were asking about like, what is it like to be an American, like talking about this? Like, does the policies like change the conversation? For me, it kind of does. For Solaris, it doesn't, and I love that for her. For me, I'm still very nervous and unsure of like how to talk about certain subjects because I have very different opinions than everybody else, and people don't like it because it's for both sides. Like my opinion encompasses both sides, and I have a very curated experience of sharing these things with people to specifically let them know like where the safety net is. And it is quite big. But it's like, you know, outside of that safety net, you still have to acknowledge all of these things that are wrapped up in this thing over here. You have to take the good with the bad. You can't just separate them and then also punish. They are coinciding, and they are also connected to these things over here. And basically, the political front of everything is people really want me to be like a conservative, like right-wing nut job, but then like they hear one or two like out of context pieces of conversation and they start getting weird, and then I'll finish saying what I'm saying and it completely rewires their brain. And some people will ask me to repeat myself because they're like, did I hear you correctly? Like, wait hold on. So you said you agree to this, but you also don't disagree with this? And it was like, yeah. So for me, the politics is kind of weird because it's like that on both left and right, because the leftists that I bump into, and when I say leftist, I mean like hardcore political, like being a lefty is their personality. A lot of them really want to hate me, and they can't because I have really good points to back up like what I'm saying. And they're all things that people just don't want to say out loud, but a lot of people have that like thought in the back of their head, or like they already have that informed opinion and they just don't want to say anything because they don't want confrontation. And I don't like to dance on eggshells, but I know how to tiptoe around those things so as not to come off as like threatening in regular conversation. But I see a huge drop in numbers sometimes on the radio if I talk about politics, because some people just instantly shut down. they don't actually listen to what I'm saying. They hear one or two key phrases and then they kind of just stop. Like my dad is really bad about that. Like if you start talking, like Solaris and I a couple weeks ago were having a conversation and my dad was listening and he was really excited because he seems to miss every time she's on my show. And I'm like, Dad, like you need to listen. Like you gotta tune in to Solaris. I need you to hear this today, you know. And he'll tune in, and we'll suddenly be talking about politics after talking about like cute little cat Tobies and like animations and like movies that we think are cool. And then it's like, you know, a political opinion, and then my dad's like, oh God, politics, all anyone talks about. And then he just taps out, and it's like, you just missed an hour and a half of all of the other things that are also tied into political stuff, but like that make us people. And I think I'm in a unique position because I have seen the way like talk shows are going, but also the way podcasters are going. And with the whole like media influencer and like social media content creators and how they are sort of avoiding those conversations like entirely. Like nobody wants to have them because they're so uncomfortable and they don't want to get canceled and they don't want people to think of them so poorly. And so I try not to like start political conversations. They just sort of like appear later in the conversation. But for me as a millennial, it does feel a little bit more difficult because I don't know who my demographic audience is. I don't actually know who listens to my show. I know a handful of friends that tune in, and I've got a few hundred followers that are probably also friends of mine. I don't know. They could be strangers. I kind of hope they're all strangers that I don't know so that I know I'm doing something right. Because like, I don't know who my target audience is. I don't actually know who listens, but the people who reach out to me are all people who actually have similar stances. Like you guys is, you know, like you understand a lot of like the discourses and how to navigate conversation with both sides. And it's so nice to finally find people to have those conversations with. But then it's like, I don't know who listens. Like, are other people able to comfortably have these conversations now too because they're hearing somebody on a platform that is big enough and connected to so many that you feel comfortable enough to have the opinion or like tune in and play me out loud to a room full of people? Because like if you're sharing it, you have to feel some sort of comfort. But I don't know. So for me, it's hard because I don't like, I see numbers drop and I panic and I'm like, oh no, they don't want me to talk about it. But it's like, but it's important. And I think it needs to be heard. And people always come, whenever I say I'm on with Solaris, they always tune in to hear what she's saying because she has such a raw experience that I think a lot of people are like, oh shit, this is someone who's like, this is a legitimate person. This is a real human being having these experiences.
Not human.
And she's telling us about it. So like, you know, it's a learning experience, I think. I don't know.
No, look, the thing is this, and I'm glad that you have Solaris to be there for you as well. And I know you guys broadcast a lot together, and Dave and I are quite similar. Let me tell you who your demographic is. You are your demographic. People like you, people like us are your demographic. They're few and far between. I worked with a guy, Paul Hovey, good friend of the show's. He took us up to Biami and but we worked together in HP, corporate space, in a corporate environment. And I was managing him at the time as part of a deal, not permanently. And after a few weeks of having chats and having a smoke outside and a coffee and whatever, he goes to me, you know what? It is so great to finally be able to talk to someone that actually understands what I'm saying. It feels so great to finally be able to talk about all the things that I can't talk to anyone else about. In my life, I've got a handful of people I can talk to in the fashion I'm talking to you now, or I relay my story on the radio. A handful of people. Mm-hmm. And I used to be invited to dinner parties as the entertainment, as I realized later. Because I had an opinion on everything, conspiracy, UFO, etc. You name it, right? Mm-hmm. But they were tourists on my journey. They are tourists. People that listened to me were tourists. They weren't really interested. They were there for the thrill ride. Oh, Mackie, there's Mackie. He's a ride. Let's go on for an hour or two. Woo, that was scary. Let's get back to our normal life. So people like yourself are your demographic.
Mm-hmm. That makes me feel really good, actually, everything you just said. Because, yeah, I have so many conversations like this with like random strangers who I see the soul come back into their body and they get so excited and they're like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Like, oh, thank the Lord. Like, they're like, this is so relieving. I get really intense reactions from people. I don't often have the same response because I just assume everybody thinks like me. It's much easier for me to deal with than like assuming that people have a specific kind of vibe. If I'm just like, everyone's cool, we'll all get along. Most of the time it works for it, at least most of the time. Like, but I do know that like it's hard to have these conversations with just anybody because like even some of my like even my parents, for as much as they love and support and listen, and my mom, God bless her, is one of the only physical witnesses that I speak to this day that has like seen some of the stuff I've gone through and been able to be like, I don't quite know what that was, but I was there. I saw like the response and the reaction, and this stuff just kind of happens to us. Like, I've just accepted it's here. Whereas like my dad kind of fights it and thinks that I'm writing these fantasy novels in my head. And like, I think part of him really wants to believe it, but it's like, it's like a scary ride. And it's like, my aunt, I haven't talked to her in, 15 years up until this spring. And when I went up to see my family and I was spending time with her, we had a couple of like very brisk conversations where like I saw my aunt kind of see me and be like, ah, yes, we are on the same page. Like we can talk about some things, man. And we just didn't have time. And then when I took my boyfriend up to meet everybody, one of the funniest things that she had said was something that she didn't actually say like out loud. I heard the like projected thought because she was like cooking dinner and I watched her face not move, but I heard the thought come through. So I answered it out loud and she whipped around and she was like, oh my God, like we have to talk about this. And I was like, so then she made a comment about like this guy that she talked to that was talking about like praying mantis beings. And I was like, I have never felt so seen in my life. Like, and she was like, yeah, but when you talk about these things, people get a little uncomfortable. So it goes from 20 people listening to 5 people listening to just me. And she was like, it's a little weird because it feels like you're being judged by everyone while also trying to have like a safe space for people to say crazy stuff. And it's really nice to be on radio with you guys because the topic of conversation is just endless and you guys have really good knowledge of what's going on in our area, whereas like I don't know what's going on in any of the areas that anyone else is in. I have no idea because I realize like the media, especially social media, is so filtered that like we genuinely don't know what's going on unless you happen to get somebody from another country that you like check on regularly who talks about that stuff. Like it's not broadcast. It's so smushed down. I have no idea what's going on outside of the country. I barely know what's going on inside the country. Like it's a new adventure every day.
so social media curates the news for you and you're their target regardless. So the danger is that you'll only ever know a more narrowing view through social media. And I think that creates that separation between people, that polarizes the nations, and it stops us from being given the full width of information for critical thinking in order for us to make an informed decision or an informed opinion about anything. And I think that we find that more often than not, that inherited opinion is the basis of most pundits. And when you gave a great example of just talking to people and being careful to tread, and try not to shake them. But when immediately when they start to talk to you, you know the news outlets they're listening to, right? So
for sure,
navigating the opinions in order to have a sensible conversation with someone who is obviously hypnotized, or let's call it nudged in a direction through social media or whatever their interactions are, or their friends' echo chambers or their cycles, whoever they're talking to, and how those reinforcing articles that in social media that keep positioning them in a certain way. So when you in your this is both of you, right? in your discussions with anybody else, if you notice their position, when you question how they might have arrived at a determination, I've found, and please let me know what you've discovered too, that they become immediately emotionally defensive because their social media only needs 3 components. You can show a photo of something that you know that they're going to have an emotional reaction with, and then park that, and then have a news story that describes some of the things that might have been in the photo, but not necessarily the same. So it's a reinforcement layer. And as you start to bury that image with the emotional reaction in it deeper and deeper, now you've got a pillar, and you can talk about that to anybody within an echo chamber, and they all reinforce each other. So I think that this is definitely in my opinion, a result of being hypnotized by nudging. And because it's emotionally defensive, that's how you can tell. So carefully discussing anything with anybody, and let's call it rattling a cage. So if you were to rattle someone's prison with information that's outside of their box, that's when you can actually cause psychological damage, because they're so hypnotized in that. Have you seen that before? Because I've seen it before. So we know that we're probably 20, 30 stepping stones of information away from where they're at. And I tend to only try to deliver a single one step if they're curious. It's like breadcrumbs. You don't throw the breadcrumbs in front of you when they're behind you. Right. You just place one and let them take one step and have it. So like when I was leading you before, trying to say, well, what are people talking about when they find out you're a host? Someone will go, tell me about 9/11. And all I say is Building 7. I say no more. And they go, what do you mean Building 7? Oh, that's up to you. You have to look it up. And then weeks later... That's
a really good move.
And weeks later they go,
I'm going to use that.
Oh my God, Building 7. Yeah, it wasn't hit by a plane, and yet it collapsed in its own footprint. Bingo. So if I told you that happened when you asked me, that would freak you out too hard, and you had to actually make those steps on your own. You had to get there. So that's what I found, and it's. Have you seen anything similar to that about the inherited opinion and how people can't break from it?
I want to give the floor to Solaris.
Yeah, Solaris.
No, I don't really have many in-depth conversations with people that don't resonate like I do, I must say. So just people, like you say, I'm very aloof when I have conversations. People kind of know me through my writings, but I don't push anything, I figure I get my read on people and I let them do their thing. I really don't influence. But I will say they're automatically traumatized to begin with because they've been socially engineered. So even if you think you're creating more trauma for them, chances are they're already traumatized and broken and damaged goods to some degree. I'm not saying everybody, but there's a lot of that going on. So spoon feeding them some truth isn't really going to change. It's going to have to take them doing the work, if you ask me. That's probably a long-winded answer, but no, I really don't get into a lot of discussions with people, man. I just break orbit. That's why I'm on the radio. I just like to talk and give my assessment of things, and that's it, man. I'm in and out of the shadows.
No, I like that. Yeah. I have traumatized people on accident. I have caused like deep set like psychological breaks from simply sharing like my ET stories. People, you're either really interested because you want to know the truth and you want some semblance of like, I'm not crazy. This stuff really does happen. Like, it's not just me. And then there's folks who they want that, but they don't actually want it. Like, they're curious, but like when it processes that it takes responsibility to handle that information, I think that's where a lot of people start to break, and they don't know how to evolve with the information because there's so much that it sort of, in my opinion, it's sort of like if you catch like a stray feral cat and then you're also trying to like just be really nice and like pet it or something after catching it in a cage and like tricking it with food, you're like, no, listen, I'm doing this for the good of you. Like, it's not a trap. it's a rehoming device. Like I'm just moving you to a better place. I'm just giving you the extra necessities. They're still going to be freaking out, and chances are they're not going to respond well with you trying to like reach in to help them, even though they wanted the food and you know that they need help, so they're probably asking for it. Like people yearn for information, but I don't think a lot of people know what to do with that information. Like I have lost many friends who were like, this stuff is too weird. It's too intense. I don't like thinking about it. It gives me anxiety. I have to go see someone now. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know you didn't know about, you know, the John Benet Ramsey conspiracy. Like, I didn't know you guys didn't know about Lady Gaga. Like, you're on social media. Like, you don't go down the rabbit holes, and people are like, no, not at all. It's like, oh man. But that's also part of like Miss B the cat. The joke is that, you know, I'm really just a cat. Like I understand cats more than any creature on the planet. Like cats and we understand each other. And like, much like a cat, I find myself very curious, even if it feels like the information's going to get me killed, because I will be so satisfied that I know now, like I know how to do that thing, or I understand it. And I didn't know that people don't do that naturally. Like that's not just like a common experience that people have. People aren't just curious to learn weird, damaging, terrifying things. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like finding out how the magic trick works. For some people, they just want to know, but they don't want to do anything with it. And then it kind of kills magic, and they can't really enjoy it because now it's ruined, even though they wanted to know. Like now it's like, oh, well, now I know nobody's doing anything cool. That guy's not really pulling rabbits out of a void in the space. Like it's just a prop. Like I feel like it's a lot like that. Like people tune in and listen to the stuff that I've done with you guys, or like with Solaris, or when we had, was it Derek Condit? He's a psychic, and he was great. He was saying things about me and my spiritual experiences that I've never said out loud, which is crazy because I say pretty much everything. Like I'm very unfiltered. I throw things out there, and if people are interested, I hope they come back and like ask questions or share their experience. But like Derek was reading my spirit, and people were like, that's kind of weird. Like, how do we know you didn't just, you know, have a script or whatever? And it's like, did you see that man holding a script? You know, but I had magician friends on, and people were like, whoa, that thing he did was like, that was like magic, bro. And I'm like, they're both magic. But like you have to understand that, like, where it is real, there's a whole lot of information that comes with that. And people are like, no, I don't want to learn how to do the thing to understand it. I just want you to tell me what you did. And it's like, well, it's not going to do anything for you. You're not going to grow. You're not going to evolve. You're not going to like learn the thing. You're just like obtaining information. And I feel like with social media, that's what happens is we have been hypnotized, and people are so zoomed in on being literally spoon-fed pieces of information because everything is just a fraction. And part of it is you're being trained to not ask questions. You're being trained not to have your own thought and to just follow what everyone else's opinion is, because clearly those people are right. They must be very smart. They all have the same opinion, so they must be correct. And then when someone else isn't, it's like, well, you're wrong, because all of these people that I trust think this thing, and I think this thing, which means it's the good thing, right? But like nobody actually has an answer. You're training yourself to follow blindly. And I don't know how to do that. I've never done that. That's why I got kicked out of churches all the time. People were like, you can't come back. We don't want you in the Sunday school groups. Like, you ask too many questions.
I got that too.
The Jehovah's Witnesses were like, please stop talking to us. Like, please leave us alone. I kept calling to be like, hey, you want a Bible study? Hey, you want to, and they were like, no, stop. I have Mormon friends who did the same thing. They were like, cease and desist, ma'am. I can't with you. I can't take you anywhere. And it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you don't want to just know things. I don't know.
When someone intrepid from a religious society of some kind or another makes their 80-meter journey up my driveway, it's steep as, it's like a 1 in 3, right? And when they get to the top, they're confronted by me, and I say, "Are there any aliens in your scripture?" And they've just, you can see the regret immediately. So someone go, "Oh yeah, you could substitute aliens for God, I suppose." And I go, "No, that's not doing it for me." Has your society gone to war against another religious group? And then they go, "Yeah." Yeah, it has. Well, it was nice talking to you. Would you like a glass of water before you go on your trek back down the driveway? Good luck with that. I wanted to ask a question, because you mentioned aliens. And have you heard about the 2027 date for arrival, or, anything? And that's why disclosure from 2017 on is a decade worth of pre-warning the populace? Have you heard anything about that?
Actually. Yeah, so I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, and I meant to reach out to someone specifically about it, because we spoke about it 13 years ago, 10, 12 years ago maybe, like 2012, 2013. It was brought up that like, oh, we only have about 13 years until stuff starts to get really weird because, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't remember any of that conversation. And then in 2016, someone called me and had a whole conversation about how there's only 13 years left before everything gets crazy. 2027 to 2033 is going to be like this dark age and this and that. And I didn't think about it much after that because I was really overwhelmed. I was going through a lot, both in the regular world and also like with experiences, with the flashbacks and the abductions and seeing a literal praying mantis wearing a human person skin, like in the Dollar Tree, like that. I was just talking about that on my show the other day because I was like, I was thinking about this. It still haunts me. It was the most unsettling thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some scary stuff. The praying mantis was just the creepiest, most unhinged thing, and it was like everyone else knew about it already, and they just didn't say anything, and it scared me, and that's what made me sort of dive down these rabbit holes. But I didn't think about it until randomly, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, in 2027 I was going to do this thing, or I'm graduating school," in passing on like a YouTube video. And I started thinking about this and was like, has it been 13 years yet? Or is it about to be 13 years? Like, I just started like remembering this whole thing. And I, for the life of me, am missing so many pieces of that conversation. I really wish I'd been able to pay more attention, because what I remember was something about, I had gotten into understanding, what's the guy's name? Greer, Dr. Greer. Mm-hmm. And before I knew not to trust most of what he says, I was like, oh my God, this guy knows. He knows things. They're talking about disclosure. And everybody was like, yeah, the aliens are coming back. Like the galactic guy from the 70s, and I was like, what galactic guy from the 70s? And they were like, oh yeah, that broadcast in like the UK. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And that was what took me down that rabbit hole of like, what do you mean? What do you mean there was just a random alien broadcast on television? Like, what? And I feel like they had told me at that time that was like some sort of prerequisite of like, this is the time we will come back. So like, be prepared. Here's the time you have to get ready via this particular process. You need to do this, that, and the other. And here are the rules. And I've been saying to people, I feel like we're running in circles and being tested constantly by something, like energetically, and everybody keeps failing. So we keep going through these like repetitive loops. You're always feeling like you have deja vu. These situations with people keep repeating. You have the same experience with jobs where it plays out. Maybe it's a different person, but the action is the same, or the words are exactly the same. And you're having this like weird memory of like, oh, I've been here before. Oh no, I've been here before. Like, oh my God, what did I choose last time? It's a multiple choice question. Like, what do I do? And I feel like most people pick whatever their first answer was last time instead of trying to change it. And then they go through the cycle all over again. Or because they picked the other option the first time, they're back here again. So they choose a different option thinking that's better, and it's still wrong. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was some part of like the evolution we were supposed to go through, is not having that experience again. By the time they're coming back, we need to understand that like, we've let go of things. We're moving forward. We're not a planet full of hateful, angry, upset, mentally ill malnourished people. Like, no, we're all happy. We love each other. We're all best friends. Like, we're all having a good time. And we haven't done that, like, at all. I feel like we have regressed so much as people on the planet that I really want the aliens to come back, but I kind of don't, because, like, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be happy. I don't want to be here for that. I would be long gone and enjoying my space vacation on some alien beach, watching an alien sunrise or something. I don't know. I just don't know that people
awesome.
can handle this anymore.
No, it's not. I think it'd be really nice, to be honest with you, to do that. But I do look, the trepidation that you feel, and sorry, this is indelicate. May I ask how old you are?
I'm about to be 34.
Okay, now that's still pretty young. For
Rookie
having,
numbers.
no, I'm serious. For having had these experiences and being
Exactly.
exposed to
Yeah.
certain realities that most people rather not acknowledge as existing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a big thing, right? Look, I'm not gonna tell you about my tragic life, but I had tragedy in my life early on, so I was fairly well armored against any further incursions, I thought. But the experiences that I've had, that Dave has had, I'm sure, obviously Solaris of all people has had, they are given to us, and this is going to sound really new agey, because we can deal with them, I think.
I literally was
sometimes-
just talking about this on the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
because you're meant to, well, or we maybe we are meant to give a message to the rest of whoever is affected by this, to hey, now you can deal with this too. We can get through this, right? I don't know. That's the way I
It's
like to think
freaking
of
you
it.
out right now, Zoe. I can see.
I literally was just talking about this on my show. I said everything you just said word for word, that like I feel like I went through a lot of the stuff I've gone through because I can deal with it. And like when I was younger, I was upset because it felt like I was left behind or forgotten, because people were like, you're fine, you're capable, you can take care of yourself. We don't have to worry about you. You've got it. And then I went through some terrible things and people were like, I don't know how to help you. I don't know. That's never happened to me. I've never been there. Or I didn't heal from it. This still affects me. I can't help you because I don't have any coping mechanisms or tools. And so I learned to do it on my own, or had the grace of strangers who had came in and given me the advice or the help. And I was like, I'm so blessed that the people who have helped me where others could not, like it put me on this course. And thus I feel that my particular journey, since so many people are interested in the random things that happen, sometimes they're really intense and terrible, and sometimes they're just terrible by basic societal standards, where like the average person is like, oh my God, I would blow my brains out. And it's nothing serious, or it's just like mildly inconvenient, which is kind of funny to me. People are like, oh, you've been through some stuff, man. Like, I don't know if I could have done it. Like, I would have tapped out. And it's like, what? That's not even bad. Like, that was just
an option,
that was
though.
a rough
to tap
day.
out,
Like,
right?
Yeah.
But I feel like people like us are able to carry that through, and the fact that we have a space or the strength or the confidence or like a little soapbox to, whatever it is, to get your message out. It's because we got through it. And I feel like because no one could help me with those things, in some ways, the things I learned to do, people respected. So I felt I should pass that information on. It wasn't something I'm ashamed of. It was like, I learned from this. I healed from this. I grow. I want you to do this because you know what? It's way less terrible than the other thing we were all collectively doing that got us nowhere. Let's do this instead, because you know what? This is how I feel, and I'm a 10 out of 10 right now, and you're at a 3. So like, I promise this will be great, and it's not like short term. This is like, you will permanently be a little better. Even if terrible things happen, you will feel better when they happen because they won't feel as bad. And I was just saying, like, I feel really special to be able to have a platform to do that for some people, because I feel like sharing those things, sharing those experiences is really important because everyone deals with stuff so differently. You never know. I have had people tell me, and I have said it to strangers, you never know how much a random conversation that you're having is going to change somebody's life, because you might just casually say something that connects all of the puzzle pieces and like blows their mind. And Solaris and I have talked about it, but like I got a message when I was young that I was going to have to learn how to be a shepherd, and I didn't know what that meant for a long time. And then I was angry because we were learning about the hero's journey, and I made a comment about like, I'll never be the hero. I'm always the side character. I have to help the hero, because if I don't help the hero, no one's going to help the hero. Then the hero doesn't exist. Then I have to do it. And I don't want that responsibility, because like, if my duty was to do it the whole time and I just choose not to because I want to be the hero, it's going to ruin the whole story. No one's going to win. And that was in high school. And then I had an experience where I was upset because I felt like a stepping stone. But then I saw how strong like Solaris came out of a lot of the stuff she was doing. And she's held me up so much over the years, like, you know, showing me like, it's like, you got this, like, you're strong. And also here are the things you can do to be stronger. Like, you can do these things. And she gives a lot of advice to people that I feel like goes unheard, because people don't understand that that's something they should take into consideration to help themselves. Like, we are freely giving people tools and information to do something, shift something, make something work, or, you know, at least influence some sort of like extra thinking. Like, think for yourself, break out of the box, simply consider that reality is not what it seems. Like, you don't have to live in the shoebox. There's like a whole world out here. Like, the shoebox is comfy, but it's not like you're too big. Like, just get out. Like, just stand up. And I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about that.
So I call it the triangle of workshops and home.
Okay.
So you're at home, or you're at work, or you're at the shops buying things to go home again. And that triangle is so strong with some people that, as I've described some things that may occur in the future, just as options, you know, questioning why there's a food, like a seed bank, for instance. Why is the richest people on the world, on the earth right now, trying to go and live on Mars, away from us all, right? Why is the current topic of a major cataclysm on the earth not affecting the base people, but all the people with money are attempting to escape, right? So what are they escaping from?
I know, but they've been taking a lot of information. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I just want to mention real quick. I've been decoding a lot of data with extraterrestrial off-world intelligence networks and systems for many moons now. And I've been saying point blank that we need to live in a different space-time configuration. And we do. And we were designed to live off planet, and you are all contactees to some degree. I would imagine you feel the same resonance. I'm determined to live off planet. I don't want to pass away here in the illusion of dying. I don't believe in the death cycle, but I would prefer to live off planet, not Mars. But in my opinion, they've been data mining for a long time. You're talking about us being on the radio and giving information that's extremely important and critical and doing analysis. And a lot of us have had the expertise in interfacing with technology to decode it. They've stored all this data. They're using it. They're utilizing it, but only for their group of people, which is corporate-driven billionaires who want to have all of these pretty things, including dominance in space, which of course they won't get. They'll get snuffed out. I just want to put that in real quick, excuse me, because I know you're going to run out of time in the illusion of time. And also that whole thing about 2027, I have no resonance with that in any formula. I will say one thing, off-world intelligence networks and systems, which I'm writing about with sentient machines, will definitely take the global military out without question. It is not a friend. It will never be an ally. And they can kiss their tech goodbye. And I'll leave it at that. Sorry. I had to feel some shame. But it's true. I mean, I know people are thinking it's going to be kumbaya, CE5. We have our cosmic heritage. We have allies. But what's happened here is an abomination. And don't be surprised if it gets snuffed out in a microsecond.
Okay. Totally.
Thank you for listening.
No, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot on both of our shows is like all of that kinds of information. Like, people aren't, if you're not going to take it seriously, you can't really do much about it. So kind of going back to the other question is like, if you just casually drop this information to the average person, they will probably go insane.
Yeah, I'm working on my gateway. I don't care. I'm not here to give everybody a hand to like
Right.
get them to the next level. That's their problem. I'm not kidding you guys. I've been through so much that I'm just decoding technology, working on my projects, and determined to do something spectacular with it if I can get the military off my back and out of my face next year. Excuse me. So, but I do appreciate y'all having me on. And I'm sorry we're running out of time, so I want to make sure I just poked my head in and said something. But yeah.
It does
great.
go fast.
It does.
Look, we
Go ahead.
should catch up more often.
Yeah, anytime.
That'd be nice.
And you guys be on my show. I know you're going to be on Zoe's, but anytime I know my show's back to back with yours might be a bit of a problem, but let me know.
Not so
can handle
much
it.
because it's a nice time in the afternoon, 4 p.m. our time.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fast, yeah, it is.
All right. Well, keep that in mind. I'd love to have you guys on and brainstorm some more. And of course, Zoe's always on.
So
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys. And thanks for. I didn't mean to talk so much. I'm sorry, but I get so excited talking with you all because
it's radio.
also
Hi,
it's my
radio.
only form of socializing. Like I don't, aside from my boyfriend and my mom, like I don't get to like see and talk to people like ever. So it's like radio is where all my friends are right now, and it's like this is who I'm talking to, and like this is for me. This is like. I don't know. I just get really excited because it's like, yes, I can have these conversations and I don't have to just say them alone in my head or like in 140 characters on the internet.
So when I mentioned the work home shops, I mean this in the best way. That I've got some friends that I've posed, just some let's call it thought experiments, and I said, if there was a cataclysm, what would you do? Would you decide to prep now so that you could survive it? And for the most part, the answer is, I mean, who would want to survive? So I just, it's like the old adage of, I just face the wind. I'd stand and face into the wind and just let it wash over me, whatever the cataclysm was. And I said, but it seems a little defeatist. Are you not a fighter? Would you not want to win through it? Whatever it is, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In my example. And they go, no. In fact, if you can tell us that there's a cataclysm coming, I'll go to the bottle shop. We call it a bottle-o. I go to the bottle shop and I would just buy alcohol and drink myself stupid until it took me. And I realized at that point that we're not all the same. We aren't all that. And you know how, Zoe, you mentioned Shepherd. So I wrote a book about my experiences, and one of those was the idea that if something was to happen, my role is to be calming people and ushering them in the right direction, whatever that happens to be. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't know what it means yet. It's kind of like reading a Nostradamus quatrain.
Yeah.
And only after it's
feel
happened
that.
you go, oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, and that's why like shepherd is the only way I can put it, because like it's not just going to be guiding people in the right direction. It's going to be like people are going to look to me, and people have my whole life like looked to me to trust. Like, what do we do? And I handle emergency situations usually pretty good. There's only been a couple times where like I was closer to my mom, so I called her and was like freaking out, but I wasn't trying to like be chaotic about it. It's just kind of like, oh my god, this thing is happening, I need support. Whereas like most of the time people are looking at me and I've been told like I handle things really well because I'm just very calm about it. But I feel like we're just gonna have to be people that know where the exit is for people to safely get to, and because we know that we will all be okay somewhere in whatever the situation, we're the ones being like, yeah, see, okay, we already planned this out, we thought about this, it's cool, I got you, like this way. Like if you don't want to come that way, that's fine, you don't have to, but if you do, I'm planning to live, so this way,
just follow
I'm planning to be
me
okay.
I'm going that way too.
Yeah.
So we've only got a minute left. It's been probably the most fun 2 hours I've had. Yeah, not excluding Meki and all the other shows we do together. But I think this has been a really fun show.
No, but this is different.
It is totally.
This
it's
is
awesome.
different. the dynamic changes, and we get to. It's more lively in many ways as well. And while there's 4 of us, so you'd expect 4 completely, separate opinions on anything. I don't really feel that I think there's a meeting of minds. We might not all be on the same level or have the same background, the same experiences, etc., the same interpretations. But I just love the energy this produce. Imagine if we were in a room together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Thank you all. I love you guys. Take
Thanks,
care of
Solaris.
yourselves.
Thanks, Zoe.
Thanks for having me,
being with
guys.
us.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. See you, Zoe.
Bye, Solaris. I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye.
So, for the listeners, if you see us in the wild anywhere, do like, share, subscribe, and comment on our material. And we'll catch you 7 a.m. for Plato's Cave, Tuesday, Thursday, and again next week for Shiny Side Out with Dave and Meki. And in the meantime, Meki, what do we ask?
Be safe.